Dr. Amina Sato stared at the flickering holoscreen in stunned silence. The observatory's lights were dimmed, casting long shadows over the rows of databanks humming with quantum processors. Outside, the pale gray plains of Luna Prime stretched. Toward the Earthrise, an elegant swirl of blues and greens suspended against the ink-black void. But tonight, Amina's world was not on Luna. It was light years away, in a message that bent every rule of physics and common sense. Her gloved fingers danced over the console as she aligned the incoming transmission's quantum phase markers. The beacon pulsed in an impossibly complex code-nested fractals of mathematical constants tied into a resonance pattern that spoke of ages beyond human reckoning. Each time she unraveled one loop, another more intricate one appeared. At last, as the final encryption dissolved, a voice neither male nor female, but a choir of harmonics spoke through the speakers. Children of Soul, we are the Alioth Collective. Our worlds unravel. Seekers of life, send us aid. The words echoed in the chamber, and for a heartbeat, Amina felt the chill of the cosmos itself pressing in around her. Then she hit broadcast, routing the decrypted message to Earth Command, the United Earth Council, and every scientific consortium on Luna. Within hours, Earth's capitals were ablaze with activity. On the gleaming floor of the United Nations Spire in Geneva, ambassadors in resplendent national dress pushed aside minutes of protocol. The giant holodome overhead replayed the message in real time, the harmonic tones, the cascading data streams, and finally the plea from the Alioth Collective. Delegates whispered in clusters, some aghast, others skeptical. Ambassador Beatriz Costa of Brazil pounded her gavel. We face a request not from any known member of the cosmic community, but from beings we have only theorized. Are we prepared to risk resources, perhaps lives, to answer their call? Dr. Sato's transmission filled the dome. The data showed entire star systems in collapse, supernova shockwaves long past their expected half-lives, rogue planet-eaters that left nothing but empty voids, and the harrowing sight of crystalline cities dissolving into dust. Minister Rahul Mehta of India leaned forward. If these readings are genuine, and our quantum lattice confirm they are, then the Alioth are beyond any civilization we've encountered. They wouldn't contact us unless all else had failed. A murmur of assent rippled through the hall. Still, hesitation shadowed the faces of many. General Ingrid Falk of the North Atlantic Treaty Coalition tapped a pointer at the projected data. We have no warp engines ready, no starships capable of intergalactic travel on this scale. We can barely maintain our current orbits without subsidy from the outer moon colonies. A tense silence held the chamber until a new figure stepped. Interview: Admiral Sergei Wang of the United Earth Fleet. His uniform was immaculate, the gold of his insignia gleaming. He carried himself with the calm certainty of someone who had stared down impossible odds before. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, voice steady, we are the most nascent of starfarers. Yet, when called upon, we have overcome. It's time to dust off legends. Deep in the subterranean vaults of Earth Command, racks of catalogs lined the walls, blueprints, journals, faded photographs detailing the Starbreaker-class cruisers. These ships were the stuff of whispered legend. First built during the Dawn expedition, they had been mothballed after only a handful of shakedown cruises. Official logs praised their design, but admitted that the political will for deep space armadas had ebbed long before their hyperdrives ever roared to life. Now, under spotlights and the metallic clank of machinery, technicians in coveralls swarmed. Over the dormant hulks, plasma welders flared as hull breaches were reinforced. Servo arms slid endless trusses of microthrusters into place. Core engineers replaced decades-old coolant conduits. The codename Project Phoenix felt almost blasphemous. These ships had never truly flown, let alone risen from ashes, but in the fluorescent glare, hope burned bright. Admiral Wang watched the progress reports with measured approval. Hull integrity at 83%. Antimatter reserves at 64%. Quantum nav arrays functional, albeit with minor phase drift. He tapped a cum badge. Lieutenant Singh, prepare the gravitic helm for calibration. We depart within 72 hours. Lieutenant Raphael Singh, a lean man with perpetually oil-smudged goggles, nodded without looking up. Aye, sir. If we synchronize subspace resonance frequencies, we can test a short warp hop before launch. A quiet murmur of excitement passed through the hangar bay crews. Engineers who had only ever simulated hyperdrive sequences on holodesks now whispered about real rift jumps, cosmic storms, and alien horizons. Eve burned over Luna Prime, painting the sky in shades of violet and rose. In the heart of the launch complex, a phalanx of vessels, 10 starbreakers, 20 escort frigates, and a swarm of drone tenders stood ready. The ground rattled as antimatter reactors roared to life, their oscillating hum a low-frequency promise of power. Admiral Wang, flanked by Dr. Sato and the Corps command staff, stepped onto the viewing platform. Amina's heart pounded as she watched the crew pilots, engineers, med officers, and communication specialists take their positions. These were the architects of humanity's first intergalactic aid mission. Volunteers all, drawn by curiosity, duty, or a sense of destiny. Wang's voice crackled over the external speakers. To the Alioth Collective, this is the United Earth. Fleet, we answer your call. May our courage light the way through the void. With a thunderous roar that rattled bones and souls alike, the fleet of legends ignited its hyperdrive coils. Space warped, star-streaked, and within seconds, though it felt like an eternity, they vanished from Luna's orbit, plunging into the darkness between galaxies. As the last echoes of their departure faded, Amina Sato pressed her palm to the cold glass. Between Luna and the stars now lay an infinite gulf, uncharted and fraught with peril. But human ingenuity, solidarity, and the whispered promise of legends carried them forward. In that moment, she realized the truth of the ancient adage: sometimes the greatest legends are born not from conquest, but from the willingness to stand against oblivion no matter the cost. The fleet of legends sailed through intergalactic space like a spear of hope, but the void is anything but empty. Their first crucible awaited in the swirling chaos known as the Kuthal Rift, where reality bent and cognition frayed. From the Yama command bridge of the flagship Orion's Wrath, Admiral Sergei Wang peered at the viewscreen as star lanes twisted into impossible Mobius arcs. Lieutenant Raphael Singh, genius of gravitic helm control, keyed his console. Admiral, we're entering the heart of the rift. Sensor readings are fluctuating wildly. Phase coherence is dropping below safe thresholds. Wang's jaw tightened. Proceed with caution, Lieutenant. All ships maintain subspace resonance at Delta Point 5. Below decks, the Auroras. Shadow shuddered as quantum distortions rippled through its hull. Captain Miriam Obasi gripped the tactile command rail, every muscle coiled for the unpredictable. A series of shrill claxons announced a near-catastrophic phase slip. The frigate dimmed as its power matrix tried to rebalance across 3 alternate realities, initiating tether protocol. Obasi shouted, her voice calm yet fierce. She engaged. The emergency quantum grapnel hand woven by Singh's team from exotic string theory filaments. The frigate's aft section glowed silver as the grapnel latched onto a stable subspace node. With a roar of reclaimed power, the Aurora's shadow snapped back into the fleet's formation, dragging a ribbon of warped space in its wake. Each trial forged the legend stronger. Discovering that standard shields would fracture amid the rift's corrosive energies, Dr. Nikolai Kirov scavenged a crystalline conduit from an Andromedan data cache transmitted in the distress beacon. He and his engineering team crystallized it around the convoy's subspace drive, amplifying each vessel's shielding field. In Engineering Bay 4, circuits hummed to life as Andromedan luminescence danced along the crystalline lattice. Field integrity at 97%, Kirov reported, satisfaction softening his accented tone. We should weather the rift's heart now. Eye above, ADM. Wang allowed himself a nod. Excellent work, Doctor. Keep those shields keyed to the Andromedan resonance. Even in the darkest rifts, humanity's spirit found a way to shine. In the banquet deck, a modular hall repurposed from the Orion's crew quarters, musicians tuned alien instruments they'd collected in Andromedan archives, stringed skewtars that resonated with soft bioluminescence, wind harps carved from crystallized nebula dust. Storytellers recited epics of Gilgamesh and Alexandria's burning libraries, weaving ancient human myths into cosmic lullabies. Music is as vital as any weapon. The Orion's morale officer, Petty Officer Sunita Rao, reminded her crew, as violins rose and fell in a haunting motif. Engineers wiping smudged visors paused mid-wrench turn, transfixed by the melodies. Even hardened Marines found their shoulders relaxing, tension easing from twitchy fingers. The worst test, however, hid within the maelstrom of whispers. As the fleet breached its perimeter, sensors went haywire, psychic echo signatures flooded. The comrades, crew members, reported sudden vertigo, excruciating nostalgia, and visions of past failures, echoes of loved ones lost to time. The Orion's medbay overflowed with personnel overcome by hallucinatory trauma. Amid the turmoil, a junior engineer named Yara Lee realized the echoes were patterns transmitted by the nebula's telepathic microorganisms. Working from a makeshift console, she modulated the fleet's comms to broadcast comforting human memories, recordings of first dances, newborn laughter, simple acts of kindness. Uploading sequence now, she announced, hands flying over holoslate glyphs. One by one, the nightmare hallucinations faded, replaced by warmth. Childhood birthdays, family reunions, sunrise hikes. Engineers gripped each other's arms with tears in their eyes. Even in the grip of cosmic madness, human empathy proved the strongest shield of all. Beyond the whispers lay kaleidoscopic warp storms and gravity wells that bent light into iridescent fractures. Hull plates groaned under tidal forces that no simulation could predict. Damage control teams in pressure suits fought cascading coolant leaks, while NavTechs recalibrated course corrections by hand. Still, the fleet of legends endured. Side by side, they emerged from the rift's crucible safer in soul, if not intact in hull. As the final warp storm dissipated, the Andromedan star clouds shimmered into view, a majestic tapestry of violet suns and crystalline planets, gaunt but unbroken. In that moment, Admiral Wang allowed himself a rare smile. "Truly, we are more than ships in steel," he said to Dr. Sato, standing at his elbow. "We are a fleet of hope, and hope is the legend that guides us." Dr. Sato looked back at the alien skyline, her eyes alight. "And our story is just beginning." The fleet of legends emerged from the final warp tunnel into Andromedan space like a burst of sunrise across a dying world. On the view screen of the Orion's Wrath, Admiral Sergei Wang watched in grim awe as fractured planets drifted beneath. Violet skies, their shattered rings hanging like broken halos. Beyond them, colossal vessels of the Nihil swarm loomed, black behemoths that seemed to drink the very light of distant suns. "Status report," Wang called, voice tight with resolve. "Lieutenant." Raphael Singh's fingers danced over the gravitic helm console. "All ships in formation. Subspace shields holding at 82%. We've scrambled every freighter's energy conduit into the main cannon arrays." Dr. Amina Sato, standing beside the Admiral, keyed the comlink to the Alioth consoles. "Flagship, the crystalline Orionos Kel. Counselor Vesha, she began, voice steady despite her pounding heart. We are in position. You may commence evacuation protocols. Across the fractal-hued feed, Counselor Vesha's many-faceted visage shimmered. Her voice, an ethereal chorus, replied, We are ready. Save our people, and the Andromedan world shall rise again. The first strike descended like meteor fire. The Nihil flagship unleashed tendrils of dark energy that ripped through escort frigates with horrifying ease. Captain Miriam Abbasi, aboard the Aurora's shadow, veered her ship into a narrow gap between two void spines. Torpedoes erupted in tandem, each warhead a miniature starburst that peeled away the enemy's outer armor. Direct hit. Obasi exclaimed. Their formations fractured push forward. Frigates surged through the breach, unleashing volleys of plasma lances that carved glowing channels through the hulls of the swarm's destroyers. The chorus of battle explosions, alarms, shouted orders echoed across every bridge in the convoy. And Engineering Bay 4 of the Orion's Wrath. Dr. Nikolai Kirov and his team worked feverishly to channel every ounce of antimatter into the ship's main subspace pulse generator. We can't sustain this for more than one more cycle, he warned, voice nearly drowned by the roar of rupturing conduits. With a nod from Wang, Kirov gave the order. Charge at maximum. Let it rip. A blinding blue arc of energy snaked from the Orion's hull, lancing into the heart of the Nihil flagship. Screaming hulls buckled under the onslaught, and for a brief, glorious moment, the enemy's command tower imploded, a supernova of ruin. Yet even as victory seemed within grasp, the rift's tear in space-time threatened to reopen. Admiral Wang realized the only way to seal was with a reverse subspace cascade, and only the Orion's Wrath had the power reserves to make the sacrifice. Admiral, you can't mean... Dr. Sato's voice faltered. I do, Wang said. Quietly. Prepare the override. We'll collapse the conduit from inside. On the bridge, crew members exchanged haunted glances. Captain Abbasi stood at attention, eyes blazing. Sir, we'll follow you. A tense moment of stillness passed before the Orion's crew moved as one, arming the pulse, rerouting power, initiating the lockdown. Across the fleet, escorts laid down, covering fire, buying seconds that felt like eons. 10, 9, 8. The countdown echoed. At 0, the Orion's engines overloaded in a cathedral of light. A cascading shockwave rippled outward, sealing the rift in a cascade of collapsing dimensions. When the radiance faded, the flagship was gone, its last broadcast a simple phrase. For all worlds, we gave our tomorrow. Silence hung in the aftermath, broken only by the ragged breathing of survivors. Then, across channels, the crystalline voices of the Alioth Collective rose in unison. You have saved us. Rescue fleets streamed down from Andromedan skies, carrying survivors to be healed, repaired, renewed. Terran med teams worked alongside Andromedan bioengineers to stabilize dying cores, while children of both species wove flowers from hybrid seeds and danced beneath twin moons. On the deck of the Aurora's shadow, Captain Abbasi watched his counselor. Vesha presented a crystalline bloom, a living symbol of rebirth. The alliance endures, Vesha intoned. Let our bond be written across the stars. Lieutenant Singh clasped Dr. Kirov on the shoulder. We did it, he whispered, eyes misting. We really did it. Dr. Sato gazed into the heavens, where distant galaxies sparkled like jewels. She thought of the Orion's Wrath, vanished, but never forgotten. No, she murmured. They did it. And so have we. As the fleet of legends stood among new friends on healing worlds, humanity's greatest legacy was clear. When the universe calls for help, courage echoed by compassion can forge alliances that shine brighter than any star. Long after the rift's collapse and the final echoes of the Orion's wrath had faded into legend, the Alioth worlds and human fleet lingered in a gentle embrace of peace. Across violet skies and bioluminescent forests, joint expeditions charted new star lanes, trading knowledge of terraforming, medicine, and art. Yet beneath this harmony stirred questions of destiny, and what great trials still lay beyond the next horizon. A new dawn on the verdant plateau of Ceres 7, Ambassador Beatrice, Costa of Earth and Councilor Vesha surveyed a bustling construction site. Alien architects and Terran engineers labored side by side, raising a memorial monolith inscribed with both tongues. At its center, a crystalline prism captured Andromedan sunlight by day and Earth's moonlight by night, a symbol that even in the deepest darkness, hope could refract into 1,000 paths. The worlds are healing, Beatrice noted, tracing the glyphs with her fingertips. But our duty doesn't end here. Vesha's multifaceted eyes glowed softly. The Alliance demands vigilance. The cosmos is wide, and shadows linger beyond every star. Shadows in the void far beyond the Andromedan frontier. A scout frigate of the Fleet of Legends, now under Captain Elena Ruiz, intercepted a garbled transmission. It crackled with distorted harmonics and a tone of warning. Beware the veil of sorrow. It awakens. All hope rests on the light of legends. Lieutenant Raphael Singh, now Chief Communications Officer, ran signal analysis. This frequency predates the Alioth distress beacon. It's ancient, possibly encoded by a civilization lost to time. Captain Ruiz leaned over his console, concern etched in her features. Could this be connected to the Nihil swarm? Or something older, more insidious? As the scout charted a course toward the unknown source, the crew felt that familiar exhilaration and dread that accompanies every journey into uncharted space. Remnants of valor back on Luna Prime. Memorial services honored the crew of the Orion's Wrath. Families, friends, and comrades gathered beneath a dome of projection. Starfields punctuated by the names of the fallen. Dr. Amina Sato stepped forward, voice steady but tinged with sorrow. They sacrificed their tomorrow so that countless tomorrows could blossom across the universe. Let their legacy guide us, reminding us that courage is born in unity, and that compassion lights even the blackest void. A hush fell as a single beam of luminescent pollen drifted down from the dome ceiling, Andromedan flora responding to human grief with gentle beauty. In that moment, sorrow and hope intertwined like cosmic filaments. The voyage continues weeks. Later, the newly commissioned cruiser Vanguard's Dawn powered up its antimatter engines for the first full jump. Its mission: to trace the origin of the warning, seek allies among forgotten star systems, and safeguard the fragile peace the fleet had fought to create. Admiral Wang, now elevated to Supreme Commander of the Alliance Fleet, watched the launch from the command center. Beside him stood Lieutenant Singh and Captain Obasi, each carrying the weight of past trials and the spark of future adventure. Set course for the Veil coordinates. Lieutenant, Wang ordered. Singh's eyes gleamed with determination. Course. Plotted. Engaging warp in 3, 2, 1. As the Vanguard's Dawn slipped into the shimmering fold of spacetime, its sleek hull vanished amid streaks of light. Behind it, 100 ships of the fleet shimmered like distant constellations, each one a promise, each one a legend in waiting. Epilogue. Whispers on the wind in the silent reaches between galaxies. Whispers carried on subspace currents. Tales of humans and Andromedans united against oblivion, of heroes who dared stand against cosmic annihilation, and of the warning that something older stirred in the dark. But most of all, they spoke of the fleet of legends, an armada not built from metal alone, but from the unbreakable bonds of hope, sacrifice, and the unwavering belief that when any life cries out for aid, we will answer. And so, even as the Vanguard's dawn raced toward new mysteries. The legacy of those who came before guided every navigator's hand and every dreamer's heart, forever echoing across tomorrow's starlit seas.